What is going on, everybody? So, odds are if you clicked on this video, you struggle with your sleep quality. Maybe it's the consistency. Overall, you're just not happy with your sleep. You want to improve it. You came to the right place. Obviously, the title says improve your sleep quality by 20%. Now, that's not just a random number. I've taken that from data that I've collected myself, based off of different changes that I've made in regards to my sleep and how I've been able to improve it. Sleep is something that I geek out a ton about. I love it. I could talk about it all day. I like to research it. But let's get into it. Like, why should you listen to me about sleep? Well, I have been tracking my sleep since high school. I started out with an app on my phone that would listen to my breathing patterns and it would sense the vibration in the bed. Then I upgraded to an Apple Watch. Now I have a Garmin. This thing lasts literally 3 weeks. I never have to take it off, so it tracks my sleep every single night. These are sleep scores taken from the Garmin app, from pretty recent. So 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98. I haven't quite hit the 100 for the Garmin. There's a lot of other apps that I've hit the 100 on. The Garmin, I feel, is much more sensitive and much more accurate to your actual sleep quality. I've had an 8 sleep, which I'll get into in a little bit, but on that thing, I hit 100 all the time. But yeah, I've experimented with, I've done a ton of different supplements, different rituals and practices before going to sleep, different things throughout the day to figure out what actually impacts my sleep quality and how I can consistently get good sleep scores. So, jumping into it, why should you actually care about sleep quality? Sleep is imperative not just for our physical recovery, but also our mental recovery. It's when your central nervous system resets when you go to sleep. Your brain does a lot of problem solving. It is essential, right? If you go for a long enough time without sleep, like you start to feel obviously tired, groggy, you're not as mentally sharp. It's just not a good thing. You need to sleep every single day. And it's crazy. You will literally die quicker without sleep than you will without food. The Guinness Book of World Records, they literally banned attempting to break the world record for going the longest time without sleep because you will literally die. So you can go months without food, but you can only go, I don't know what it is, like a week or 10 days without sleep, and then you will literally die. On top of that, for the guys, lack of sleep, it kills your testosterone. I believe it puts you 10 years ahead of where your testosterone levels should be. So if you're 25 and you're getting inadequate sleep, you'll have the equivalent testosterone of a 35-year-old. Nobody wants that. Obviously, it is very key. And on top of that, it lowers your life expectancy. To make things worse, if you get bad sleep, it's going to make you more hungry. Your body's going to hold on to more fat. And so you will literally get fatter if you don't get high quality sleep. Bunch of other benefits, like I just talked about: weight loss, heart health, regeneration, metabolic health, memory, mood and stress, cognition. So, a bunch of different studies have been done on sleep and its importance. I highly recommend checking out the Joe Rogan Matthew Walker interview. He might have been on there again, but there was one several years back. I'll link it in the description. And it is fascinating, all of the facts he tells about sleep. And it will hit home about how important sleep is. You will not look at sleep the same after listening to that podcast. But let's set some ground rules real quick in regards to sleep. First things first, we have to create a routine that you will follow every single night. I call this the Pavlov effect. So, for those of you that don't know what that is, there was a scientist, he conducted an experiment where he had a dog, he would feed it, and when he would feed it, he would ring a bell. And he did this over and over and over and over again. And every single time when he would do that, the dog's mouth would start salivating because he'd see the food, he'd get all excited. Then one time he didn't even have any food. He took away the food and just rang the bell, and automatically the dog started salivating because he associated that bell with eating food. We want to do the same thing for our body. We want to be able to create a routine and have triggers for our body that signals, hey, it's time to go to sleep. Let's start to wind down and let's get some really high quality sleep. And so you want to be able to follow a routine every single night so that your body knows, hey, it's time, right? It's it's game time. Sleep is extremely important. If you can upgrade your sleep quality, overall, the quality of your life is just going to increase. You want to aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep every single night. More than that, they've shown is not as effective. Every now and then, if you've had like a crazy travel day or you've worked out a ton and your body allows you to sleep 10, 11 hours, great, do it. But in general, 7 to 9 hours is the sweet spot. Most people obviously hit the 8 mark. If you're getting below seven, you're consistently hitting 5 or 6 hours, you want to try and up that. You will notice a big difference just from an extra hour of sleep. Again, the more consistent you can be with your sleep, with your bedtime and your wake time, the better your body's going to respond. The body loves consistency. It loves having a routine. It knows what it needs to do at that point. So if you're going to bed consistently the same time, Monday through Friday, but then on the weekends you're staying out till 2 a.m., then you're sleeping till 10 a.m., the body gets confused. It doesn't like that. So the more consistent you can be, the better. If your bedtime changes, it's still important to keep your wake time the same. On top of that, you want to plan out your day the night before. This is really going to help eliminate any racing thoughts or any anxiety you might have about potentially forgetting something or just what you're doing the next day. By actually physically writing it out, it helps just de-stress you and get that off your mind so that you're not thinking about that as your head hits the pillow. And then I like to create a plan of attack in the morning so that way when I wake up and I get out of bed, I have a reason to not just stay in bed, right? There's an actual reason for me to get out of bed. I don't want to be in my bed for anything other than sleeping. I don't want to be watching Netflix. I don't want to be watching TV. I don't want to be doom scrolling. My bed is a sacred place. I like to use it just for sleep. On top of that, you want to try and follow nature's natural circadian rhythm. So the closer you can get your bedtime and your wake time to sunrise and sunset, the better, right? If you're going to bed consistently at 1 a.m. and waking up at 10 a.m., it's just not going to be as effective. Um, there are some people that operate really well doing that, but you should try to go to bed as close to, again, sunset and sunrise. And then I also like to follow a 5 minute rule. So upon waking up, I'm not like a Marine. I don't like to just wake up, jump out of bed, and get right to it. I give myself 5 minutes to kind of get the sleep out of my eyes, wake up a little bit, and then I get out of bed. I found that to be really effective for me because it's just a nice parameter of, hey, I got 5 minutes. As soon as that 5 minutes is up, I'm out. I hit the shower, get ready to rock and roll. Now, you can't get good sleep if you're not asleep, right? So one of the best ways that you can actually fall asleep quickly is to exhaust your body throughout the day. An exhausted body is always going to fall asleep quicker, no matter the environment that you're in. You could be at a rock concert with your head right next to the speaker. I guarantee if you are tired enough, you will sleep through all of the noise. It doesn't matter. I'm sure you guys have all experienced yourself, like a crazy travel day and or even just a crazy work day. You're absolutely exhausted and you're able to fall asleep much earlier than you normally do, right? So the more tired you are, the better. If you're sitting around doing nothing all day, obviously it's going to be a lot harder to fall asleep. So make sure you're moving your body. Try and get outside. Doesn't matter. It could be walking. It could be working out. It could be running, surfing, whatever you have in your area. If you live near the mountains, go hiking. Whatever. Do something that's actually going to make your body want to go to sleep and recover itself. On top of that, when the sun goes down, you're going to want to dim the lights around your home. You don't want all the lights on. You don't want it super bright. You want to start signaling to your body that, hey, the sun's gone down. It's time to chill out. It's time to start getting ready for bed. So I like to use pink Himalayan salt lamps around my home. It really helps set the mood. It's a nice, easy light on the eyes, especially when I'm in the shower. I don't have any bright lights on. I just have that light on. And it's very calming. It's very relaxing. On top of that, I do a lot of work on my computer as well as my phone, and there's a lot of blue light that's emitted from our screens. Blue light blocks the signal for your body to release melatonin. And so when you're looking at screens, your body thinks that it's still daytime because the sun, it emits a ton of blue light. When you're outside during the day, it's getting a bunch of blue light. It's saying, hey, it's time to be awake. But as soon as the sun goes down, there's no more blue light. Our body now triggers the melatonin and it says it's time for bed. When you use the screens, it interrupts that. So what you can use are some blue light blockers. These are from Raw Optics. I'm going to link every single product I talk about in the description below so you guys can check out exactly what I use. If you want to get a different product, knock yourself out. I'll just show you exactly what I use. But these are awesome. Not only does it help eliminate the blue light, but it also is just really relaxing. It reduces the eye strain. I like to use this sometimes even during the day if I'm going to be working on my computer for several hours. So highly recommend checking those out. Another thing that is awesome, it's an awesome tool for helping your body go to sleep, is taking a warm shower right before you go to bed. Now, in order to fall asleep, your internal core body temperature has to drop, I believe it's 2 degrees. The reason for that, really simple. If we go back thousands and thousands of years of evolution, When the sun would set, we were obviously outside most of the time. And so when the sun would set, the temperature outside would drop. And then that would be a signal for our body that, hey, it's time to go to sleep. Now, obviously, with modern technology, we have temperature controlled environments. There's not really a huge change that we experience. And so it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but a warm shower or a warm bath actually lowers your internal core temperature because all the blood rushes to your extremities, to your skin. And as a result, it lowers your body temperature. The opposite is true with cold exposure. So when you get into a cold shower or a cold plunge, you might think that that's cooling you down, but it actually ramps everything up. It heats up your internal core temperature. So you don't want to take a cold shower before bed. You want to keep that for the morning time. At nighttime, one of the last things I do is I take a warm shower, and it's awesome, right? Again, with the pink Himalayan salt lamp, it's very relaxing. And then again, going back to we want to lower the temperature, a cold room's always going to be easier to fall asleep in. So minimum for me, I like 69 degrees. The colder, the better. I used to live in Utah, and when it was snowing outside, I loved it. I would literally open up my window and I would go to sleep at night with my room as cold as possible. Obviously, I'd be under the covers, nice and warm there, but I like the actual environment colder. So if you're used to a little bit warmer of a room, try cooling it down. It'll make a huge difference. This is why you notice that if it's ever hot or you're like sweaty trying to go to bed, it is damn near impossible to fall asleep in a hot room. And again, it's just because our body literally has to lower in temperature to actually fall asleep. Now, tools that you can actually utilize to help you fall asleep quicker and then to actually help um, your sleep quality. First is let's talk about the face. So eye mask, nose strip, mouth tape. This guy's obviously rocking the blue light blockers as well. I absolutely love my eye mask. I use it every single night. I use it when I travel. It's an incredible tool. I like to use one that has eye cups, so that way I can open my eyes and my eyelashes don't touch the eye mask. So it feels very natural. You open it up and it just seems like it's pitch black. This is also one of my favorite Pavlov tools that I use to signal to my body that, hey, it's time to go to bed. It's almost like when an athlete puts on his helmet or they tie up their cleats. It's a signal for them that, hey, it's game time. So the final, very last thing that I do before I go to bed, once I'm in bed, is I throw on the eye mask and then I'm ready to knock out. This is a great tool as well if you're traveling because sometimes where you're staying, they don't have blackout curtains. There's a lot of light coming into the room, and it's just harder to fall asleep in a room that has light coming in. Again, it's supposed to be dark when we're going to sleep, so utilize this. It makes things a whole lot easier. The single most effective tool that I've found to help with sleep quality is mouth tape. Mouth tape restricts the breathing from your mouth so that you only breathe through your nose. This is going to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which all that means is it's going to help make your body more relaxed. It's going to lower your heart rate. Overall, it's going to be a huge benefit for you. So get mouth tape. There's a ton of different options you can use. I like this style because it completely closes off the airway. If you don't feel comfortable with that, they make some that have little holes in them, or there's also one that has an X, so you could potentially breathe out of the side of your mouth. The reason I don't like those is because you can still breathe through your mouth if your body really wanted to. So to get the full effect, I like using this style of tape. And then I like to pair it with a nose strip. The nose strip just opens up your nasal passageway, so you're able to get more air through there. If you've never used it, it's pretty incredible. You can feel it instantly. This nose strip, it doesn't look very effective to me. Essentially, the way that nose strips work, if it's proper, is it has a little metal strip in the middle. And then when you stick it on your nose, that metal strip wants to stay straight. And so it's literally pulling apart your nose. That's what makes it easier to breathe. I don't think this has it. So if it's just tape, it's not going to do anything. You need to have that metal strip in there. Again, I'll link the one that I use in the description. I also like using any sort of white noise, whether that's a white noise machine or like a sound from YouTube. It could be a fan in your room. Whatever it is, it kind of drowns out any of the other noise and it helps your brain not think about a bunch of different racing thoughts because you focus on that noise. If you don't like that, there's also guided meditations you can follow. My personal favorite is the Alan Watts meditation. I'll link that in the description. Another fantastic tool that I've utilized is a weighted blanket. Now, it says kettlebells on it. It's not an actual weighted blanket. I thought it was kind of funny, but there's a ton of different options on Amazon. They show based off of how much you weigh, what type of weight you should get for your weighted blanket. Personally, I like it a little bit heavier than what they suggest for me, but it's shown to decrease anxiety, make you more calm, And also, too, when I use the weighted blanket, I move a lot less throughout the night. And so as a result, it helps with my sleep quality rather than tossing and turning and moving my covers all around. I kind of just sit like a mummy all night, and it's great. If it's in your budget, I would highly recommend looking into an eight sleep. So the way that an eight sleep mattress works is it's a cover that you can get that goes over your mattress, and then there's this little pod next to it that you put water in it, and there's a bunch of tubes that run through the bed. You can't feel it at all, but this machine will warm or cool the water based off of the settings that you have on it. So I like my bed cool. When I get in, it's at, I believe, 68 degrees. And then it has a sensor on the mattress cover as well. So it knows when you're in deep sleep, when you're in REM, and based off of those cycles, it'll actually change the temperature of the bed to make your sleep quality even higher. And then the cool part too is you can set an alarm. So let's say you want to wake up at 6 a.m., you can have the mattress start warming up. So it naturally pulls you out of your sleep, and then you wake up naturally rather than having like a crazy alarm that goes off and it could potentially wake you up from a deep sleep and then you're super tired. This just naturally pulls you out of your sleep a lot better. As far as supplements that I recommend, magnesium, glycine, and L-theanine. Every single night I take magnesium and glycine. Glycine is an amino acid. It's incredible for muscle recovery and repair, but it's also really, really good at increasing your sleep quality. A cool little fun fact about it too, if you don't dream a lot, this stuff will help you have not only more dreams, but also like pretty crazy dreams. You will literally go to outer space with this. So I definitely suggest this. I take usually 3 scoops of this a night. I believe each scoop is 3 grams, but don't quote me on that. And then I take a scoop of magnesium every single night. Magnesium promotes calmness and relaxation. Most people are deficient in magnesium, so definitely a good supplement. If you are consistently stressed, or there's sometimes where you have periods of stress, I would recommend supplementing with L-theanine. I don't use this every single night. Some people do, but this is an incredible supplement that you can test out and see how it works for yourself. I also found that sleeping naked is the most effective way for me to sleep. Your core body temperature wants to be cool. The only thing that could potentially get cold is your extremities, so your fingers, your hands, and your feet. Some people I know like to have their feet out of the covers. It helps regulate their body temperature. Personally, I don't experience that, so you can try testing out sleeping with socks on. Sometimes that helps people, but I like to sleep naked. I don't wear any socks or anything like that. And then one of the most important things you can do is get some sort of sleep tracker, whether it's a watch, it's an Aura Ring, or you just download an app on your phone. Track your sleep. It helps gamify it so you're a little bit more intentional about what you're doing every single night. And then on top of that, you can record the data to see, okay, when I took these supplements, my sleep score went up by 15%. Or when I took a warm shower before bed, I noticed that not only did I fall asleep quicker, but it also increased my sleep quality. When I went out with my friends and had a couple of drinks, my sleep quality was terrible. So, alcohol must not be very good for my sleep. The more data you can get, the better. Everybody's completely unique. This stuff I give to all of my clients, and it helps their sleep tremendously. But you might be a little bit different. There might be something that works way better for you. There might be some stuff that doesn't really have that big of an impact for you. So definitely track your sleep because, like I said, everybody's a little bit different. The more you know about yourself, the better sleep you're going to get. Now, keys for falling asleep faster. Usually, the reason people can't fall asleep is because they have a lot of racing thoughts. They're thinking about the past, they're thinking about the future, they have a lot of anxiety. So, journal out any thoughts that you might have that are keeping you up at night. Make a plan for the next day. I like using the 5-for-5 method. I have a video on my Instagram that talks about that in detail and exactly how that works. But it gives me a plan for the next day. When I write that out, I don't have to think about what I have to do the next day. Sometimes, when you're going to bed, you're trying to remember not to forget something. If that's the case, just write it down and then you can let it go, right? It's written down. You don't need to try and remember it now because it's on paper. So definitely journal out your thoughts. You want to make your room as dark as possible. If you have blackout curtains, definitely utilize those. I also like utilizing the eye mask so my eyes are completely blocked from the sunlight, or from not the sunlight, but any light. If you live in a city, obviously there's a lot of ambient light around. Or if you're traveling, this is a fantastic tool to use, especially if you're switching time zones and it's a little bit different of a sunrise sunset. You're trying to get some sleep in. Definitely want to utilize that. Again, the guided meditation and the white noise machine are great for kind of drowning out those thoughts that you have and just helping you focus on that noise. And then it helps you fall asleep. And if you're still struggling to fall asleep, something that I've found to work is if you resist every single temptation to move or to itch your face or to turn or whatnot, if you stay motionless long enough, your body will fall asleep. Now, I've heard this. I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently, you know how when you're just laying down, trying to fall asleep, nothing touches your face or your shoulder or wherever you might have an itch, but all of a sudden you have an itch there. Apparently, that's your body testing to see if you're actually asleep. And if you go to itch it, it knows it's not asleep. Whether or not that's true, I'm not sure. However, practicing this method of just not moving at all has helped me fall asleep. And maybe it's just because you're focusing on something else. It works. Another thing that I've done is I just try to count to 100. Usually I don't get to 100. If I forget what number I'm on, I start over. But literally just counting and doing something that helps me focus on something specific rather than thinking about all the different thoughts that I have of what happened that day or what's going to happen the next day. So, a couple tools for you there. In terms of getting deeper sleep, one of the things that I see people mess up the most is they eat right before they go to bed. Your body takes a tremendous amount of energy to digest food. And so if you eat right before bed, your body can't focus as much on repairing and restoring and getting into a deep sleep for the first couple hours of the night because it's so focused on digesting your food. So try and eat your last meal a minimum of 2 hours before bed. The earlier you can eat, the better. I think Brian Johnson, he eats his last meal at like noon or 2 p.m because he understands this. He understands that your body exerts a ton of energy digesting food. And if you can have all of your food digested before you go to sleep, your body's just going to get way better sleep. I recently did a 3 day water fast, and every single night my sleep got better and better and better because it had nothing to digest. It just had to focus on repairing myself when I went to bed. So, pretty interesting there. Again, sometimes it's not possible. You may work super late and you can only eat at night right before you go to bed, but do your best to try and eat again at least 2 hours before bed. And then after you eat, take a 15-minute digestion walk. That's extremely powerful. It doesn't take that much time, but it helps your body digest the food and regulate your blood sugar levels. A lot of people struggle with going pee in the middle of the night. So obviously they wake up, it takes them out of their sleep, they go to the bathroom. With me, I like to front load my hydration throughout the day. So when I wake up in the morning, I'll drink anywhere from like 50 to 80 ounces of water over the course of the first hour, 2 hours of the morning. And then when I work out, I'll drink a bunch of water then. And then as I approach the evening, I start to lower my overall water consumption because I don't want to be waking up in the middle of the night to go pee. And then right before I go to bed, I am usually able to go pee. That way, I have an empty bladder and I don't get my sleep interrupted in the middle of the night. So try that. If you do wake up in the middle of the night to go pee, it's not that big of a deal. It's okay. Go pee. Don't look at the clock. There's not really any benefit that you get from looking at what time it is. It's most likely, if anything, just going to stress you out because you're like, oh my gosh, I've only been asleep for this long, or oh my gosh, I only have this much more time to sleep. There's no benefit. Just go back to sleep and do your thing. One of the absolute worst things you can do for your sleep quality is drink alcohol or smoke weed. Although these things may help you fall asleep, they wreck your sleep quality, right? The data speaks for itself. Anytime that I drink or have smoked in the past, it just completely wrecks my quality. It's not as good. Even if I sleep for 8 hours, the overall quality of my sleep is diminished greatly. So, overall, weed and alcohol, they're not that great for you. Try and limit it as much as you can. Obviously, it's kind of hard to completely eliminate in today's society as it is a part of our culture. It's okay to enjoy a couple of drinks here and there. Just try to do it again the earlier before bed, the better. That way your body can actually process it. But if you can completely eliminate it, you're just going to notice a huge increase in your overall sleep quality. And then lastly, set an intention for what time you want to wake up. The body has an internal clock. I'm sure you guys have experienced it. Maybe you had an early flight and you had to be up at 5 a.m. and somehow your body wakes up a minute before the alarm goes off. It wakes up at 4:59 and you're like, that's kind of crazy. How did that happen? So it's just because you set that intention and your body knows what time it's supposed to get up. If you do all of this, your sleep scores should start to look like this, right? Sleep, again, it's one of the most important things you can do for the overall quality of your life. You're going to have more energy. You're going to be in better shape. You're going to be happier, and you're just going to be able to show up better for other people. So do what you can. Again, record the data, see what works for you. And if you incorporate these, I guarantee that your sleep quality will jump up. Whether you're supplementing, you're practicing the ritual of having a routine, taking a cold shower, sorry, a warm shower. But whatever it is, just be consistent with it. And I hope you guys got a ton of value from this. I look forward to seeing any comments about the changes in your guys' sleep. And I hope that tonight you have an absolutely incredible slumber and you're able to utilize some of the tools and tactics I was able to provide for you guys. But appreciate it. Leave a comment about any videos you'd like to see in the future. Check me out on Instagram. It's Bennett__Luke. I post on there every single day, trying to provide as much free value as possible. But hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.